guys, today we're talking about the 5 small steps to having a fitness transformation. So a lot of the times when people think fitness, they take 1,000 things at once, like working out, and they've never been to the gym before, and now you're working out 7 days a week and you just get overwhelmed. But there are 5 simple things that we can be doing that aren't really that stressful.
Yeah, I mean, mainly the idea of just kind of starting something and completely doing everything all at once is kind of crazy, especially when you link it to another job or another profession. Even take just like a teacher, right? They're not gonna just be thrown into the first day of class doing everything all at once. There's obviously education going before that, and then obviously teaching assistant, and you kind of work your way up to the time where when you're actually a teacher, there are definitely things that have been in motion prior to just becoming a teacher. That'd be the equivalent of me just getting thrown into a classroom and saying, hey, go teach.
Yeah, so we can break it down into 5 easy things, and you can even implement these things one at a time. And you will, if you're paying attention to your body, you're going to see some differences happening. So the first thing that we have is just to prioritize sleep. So everybody knows you should get 8 hours of sleep, etc. But that does depend on your body. Everybody's body is different. So for example, I need to have, and I use a sleep tracker on my phone and on my watch, and it tells me kind of what I should be getting, when I feel the most tired, when I feel the most rested, and I'm at 9.5 hours. So Matt is like 8, he's fine, but I need 9.5.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even really need that much. Well, in comparison to you.
Yeah.
You sleep a lot, and honestly, it's kind of cool too.
Because women use more of their brains, so I've heard. I don't know if that's actually true.
I don't know if that's true, but so it's pretty cool, and something that I've noticed ever since tracking my sleep a little bit more is that it sounds cliche, but the more you do in a day, activity level, whether that be mental exhaustion, physical exhaustion, emotional exhaustion, you tend to need more sleep. And fortunate enough for Sarah and I, neither one of us really set an alarm, because we work from home. So we're at least able to give our bodies the amount of sleep that we need. But there are plenty of other, Sarah mentioned tracking. So she has an Apple Watch. There's Whoop Strap, Fitbits, all that kind of stuff, where it can actually tell you based off of your fatigue level that day how much sleep you actually need. And I think that that's something really that people tend to struggle with, where you have this idea of getting up at, we'll say 4:30 or 5 o'clock to go to the gym. Maybe you don't even work a manual labor type job. You're just in the office. Then you go pick the kids up, and then you take them to practice. You cook dinner. You do all that kind of stuff. And by then you turn around and it's already 10 or 11 o'clock. Well, you may have exhausted a lot more of your physical or even mental capacity that day than the amount of sleep that you're actually getting. Yeah. So it's important, really, just like anything, to monitor, what your activity level really is that day, and then sleep accordingly.
Yeah, the other thing to keep in mind is we are always stressed during the day. That's just human nature. But when we
Especially
me. But so cortisol, that's the stress hormone. That's what makes us feel these stressed out, anxious feelings. But during the day, cortisol is like at its peak. We are stressed out. We're doing a whole lot of stuff. But our bodies are naturally, if we're still stressed out when we go to bed, it's not going to work. And our bodies know this. So if we have like a general bedtime, so let's say we go to bed at 10 o'clock every night, our bodies will learn to figure out like, okay, I need to calm down at around 9:30, and when that happens, the cortisol drops, and that means that we're able to go to bed easy. But if we have kind of a random sleep schedule, sometimes it's 11, sometimes it's 9, Sometimes we sleep in till, 1 p.m. Then our bodies they're not on schedule and they don't know when to turn that cortisol off. And we end up stressing out, staying awake longer than we intend to. And when we try to go to bed on a normal time, it's a real struggle.
Yeah. And the main thing that you want to go off of is obviously your individual schedule. Every day is going to change. Day in, day out. Maybe you have a gym session in the morning, or then maybe the kid has a soccer practice, or work is a little bit more stressful, less stressful. Whatever it is. If you can get a consistent sleep schedule, and like exactly what Sarah was saying, right? Those cortisol levels really fluctuate based off of the daily tasks that you have. If you can get to bed at the same time every day, your body is naturally going to allow you to get the recovery that you need. It's not something where if you just do a certain amount of activity each day and then you go to sleep, at different times, your body is just sleeping according to those times that you actually go to bed. I don't know if that quite makes sense, but essentially if you say 10 o'clock is your bedtime every single day,
your body can prepare for it.
Your body can prepare for it.
And then the other thing that people have issues with is some midnight snacking or just being hungry during the day. And I know it's a myth that if you fall asleep, if you eat after 7 p.m., then you're going to gain weight. And that's not really true. And we'll get to that a little bit more. But the issue is, so we have, while we're talking about hormones, we have leptin, which is a hormone that tells us when we're full. And then ghrelin, which is an appetite stimulant hormone. So it tells us, hey, we need to eat. So if we're staying up later, then our leptin starts to drop, which means, okay, we have to be up later, so we need more food. So our bodies are just doing their jobs. They're telling us, okay, we need the energy to stay up later. So we're going to change around our hormones to make that happen, which is fine. But then if we're staying up later, we need more energy, we're eating longer, and that's where we start overeating, especially late at night.
Yeah, it's really it's literally just a cause and effect. And your body is one amazing machine. And I think that's something, and we'll definitely touch throughout the course of this, is people don't quite understand how mechanical and functional your body really is. And there are just certain parts, certain hormones, and certain functions that your body performs on a daily basis that you don't even have to think about. Let's just take it back to even leptin and ghrelin, right? They're just hormones that tell you, and then also in turn tell your body when you're hungry and when you're full. It's incredible. We tend to think that it's solely what we're thinking, or it's, subconscious, or, just kind of, hey, if we see food, we're going to eat it. It's more your body is letting you know what needs to happen when. So
and
the more we can, the more we can listen to our bodies, the better.
Hormonal hunger can throw you off, and we'll get to that a little bit more too, but we'll talk about what you can actually do to make sure you're prioritizing your sleep. I know setting a bedtime is fine, but sometimes we just end up getting distracted and we don't actually go to bed at that time. So setting a reminder on your phone. I know it sounds silly, but I have a bedtime reminder on my phone, and it goes off a little bit earlier than I would actually go to sleep. So if my bedtime is, 10, I want to be in bed and asleep at 10. I'm not going to have my phone ping at 10 because I have to get ready for bed. I have to do my nightly routine. Like, I like to stretch before bed, that kind of stuff. So you set it before then. If it goes off and you're at a party and people make fun of you because you have your phone on and it's telling you to go to bed, whatever, you just snooze it. It happens. But it does help you to remember that you are supposed to be in bed at least, and it helps you get into a routine.
Yeah, just getting back to the consistency of sleeping that Sarah has, and don't get me wrong, it's certainly gone off at some, inopportune times, maybe even the movie theater if, you forget or you're out at dinner or, out with friends or anything. But to even go along with your phone, so your phone is certainly a tool that you can use to track and get back on schedule. Now, something that is a little bit different is, so my phone, I've noticed my sleep has gotten a lot better just by taking my phone and putting it in the office. So I don't use my phone as an alarm clock. I use an alarm clock as an alarm clock. And mainly it's just for me, right? So I enjoy YouTube a lot. And then I also just, enjoy scrolling through social media. The issue is with that is the more that you get involved with YouTube or social media, especially before bed, it triggers other hormones, and it triggers your body to say, hey, we're still working, let's keep going. And then you can start to kind of dive down that rabbit hole, or is it loop?
Rabbit
hole.
Yes.
So you start to dive down that, and then you can't get the consistent sleep that you need. So something, and this is just a tip that I found, is use your phone to remind you to get to bed, but then remove your phone once you're in bed. Either, even listen to a podcast on your phone. You can set alarms on, your TV or, even just an alarm clock to help you get up as opposed to using your phone. Some of you guys might actually, benefit from that a little bit better.
Yeah, and the other two ways that you can help yourself to get on a sleep schedule is to, like we said, use the sleep tracker, and that'll get you, if you're not really sure about how much sleep you're supposed to get, just paying attention to when you wake up and when you go to sleep. And okay, you got 9 hours last night and you still feel tired, so that tells you need more. Or I could tell you that you just worked out a lot that day and you're tired. So having a consistent tracking system will help you to recognize, okay, I actually need this amount of sleep. And the other thing you can do is block scheduling. So that's mainly just being realistic with the time that it takes you. I have some friends that struggle with being late for things, and some of the things that I really like doing time management. That's like my thing. So being realistic about your time is very helpful to just take yourself from point A to point B. So if you know that it takes, a half hour to get to work, block out more time. So I block out, 20 minutes extra. So then I get there a little early. If I find out that, oh no, I didn't fill my car with gas, now I have time to do it. And that may seem like it's taking up extra time in your day, but then at the end of the day, with any time that you have left over, that it only took you 30 minutes to go to work. You didn't have to fill up your tank. Well, okay, now you have extra time at the end of the day, and you're more likely to go to bed sooner.
Yeah, there's certainly people that take it to the extreme. The one that comes to mind is Jocko Willink, former Navy SEAL, but he gets up at 4:30 every single morning, and a lot of people get on him about, you're not getting enough sleep, or sleep, needs to be more important to you. And while that's certainly true and has validity, the thing that trumps any of the stuff that we talk about is consistency. Your body has a natural way of just adapting to whatever you're giving it. Now, if you can get the full 8 hours of sleep and then be consistent with it, that's awesome. But if you are consistently getting up at the same time and going to bed at the same time, even if it's maybe slightly less than the sleep that you need, that is more important than going to bed at 10, then going to bed at 9, then going to bed at past midnight. Just keeping that consistent. And you'll even notice when we touch on the other 4 steps of drink water, or even fasting, the more that you can get on a consistent schedule, your body can just adapt better than anything that you see a machine doing or a computer doing. It's just, AI is a huge thing right now of a computer learning how to get better. Your body, it already knows how to do that. So the more consistent you can be with your schedule, especially when it comes to sleep, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah, so sleep is a major one, but the second one, which also may sound like a cliche, but we're going to give you some actual tips on how to stick with it, is water. So drinking more water is going to make you feel better almost immediately. Uh, and another thing that we talked about with sleep was how that can overlap into hunger and overeating. Water can do the same. So if you are, our bodies can sometimes misinterpret the signs of what we need. And sometimes we think we're hungry when really we're just dehydrated and what we need is just a couple glugs of water. So if you
Gloves.
so if you feel like you are hungry, take a glass of water first. And okay, maybe you're still hungry. Awesome. Now you're hydrated. It's a win-win. Nobody's losing there. But um, you know, we take in 22% of our water just through food, but you can't just live off of that. You're not going to put into your gas tank, 22% of your fuel. You wouldn't get very far. You'd just get tired. And if we're treating our bodies like a car, we're putting only 22% in, and the rest of it we're drinking pop or soda, as Matt says.
Good soda. It's not
But but either way, we need to be taking in water, drinking water as well. We cannot just get it through celery or, foods with a lot of water content.
Drinking water is probably the thing that most people, I mean, honestly, other than sleep, really, but most people could just flat out be better at. Even the 8 ounces or eight glasses of 8 ounces a day, so it's 64 total ounces a day is what the recommended amount is. Drink more. There is always an opportunity and an option to drink more. And I will say, the more that you can limit the other types of drinks that you're having, something like soda or even even alcohol or anything like that you typically have later at night. If you can start to replace that with water, the benefits are just remarkable. Obviously, there are going to be easier ways to consume your water than not. Where I noticed the biggest change is literally just getting a bigger water bottle. The bigger the water bottle, within reason. You don't want to be getting some monstrosity that you can't carry, you can't put in the car or anything.
Or just a water bottle that's easy to drink out of. So
That's
Matt
huge
likes
too.
the twist off kind of water
Actually have
bottles.
one of these now.
And I really like the ones, like, I have small hands, so I don't want to have to hold it in one hand awkwardly while I'm doing something else. But I like the ones where you just grab, it has a little button, and you just go, you chug it. So whatever works for you. I mean, if you like to have cold water, maybe a Swell bottle or, a Yeti, or if you just want something that's easy to grab, something with a handle, as long as it makes it easier for you, you're going to drink more water too. But, don't just drink when you're thirsty. That's another thing that people end up doing is thirst is just kind of, if we're talking about ourselves as a car again, it's kind of that ping on your dashboard that says, hey, I need fuel. But you don't need to wait until that ping comes up. You can refuel before then. That just means you're lacking. So continuing to drink throughout the day, you shouldn't end up with, pangs of thirst throughout the day. You should be already fueling your body.
Well, to even extend that analogy a little bit more, if you're about ready to go to the beach or you have a long trip coming up in your car, even if you are at a half a tank or even a quarter tank, you're not going to start that huge long trek before filling up the gas tank. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to go and then stop and then re-go again. Your body's the same exact way. So if you have, a major event the next day, or you'd like to run, or you'd like to train, or like I said, I mean, even just daily life, it doesn't matter. Hydrate and drink water accordingly. So my hydration for the next day really starts the day before. My hydration for the afternoon starts in the morning. I'm not just chugging water directly before an event, and that can discourage some people as well because, people, if they haven't drank any water, your body naturally says, hey, I'm thirsty, I need to hydrate. And then you chug a bunch of water, you feel bloated, and now, you don't perform your best. And really the mistake happened before that event even started. And it even happened the day before. I get in the habit every morning, and Sarah and most of my friends can actually attest, I'm carrying this water bottle, and I have about 16 to 24 ounces each morning. It is routine. As soon as I wake up, I'm good. I take, a couple vitamins and minerals as well, vitamin B, magnesium, just to, kind of do that. But the main thing that I do every single morning, it never changes, is, just drink a lot of water. Think of it as, that extra reserve in, your gas tank. Think of it as carrying an extra 5-gallon, gas tank with you. It is, you wake up, you have your assurance of, I am going to be hydrated, even if I'm not, for the rest of the day. And then you can start your water journey.
And like we're saying, like, if you are drinking water and that's your main change, you don't aim for the 8 bottles a day right off the bat. You're going to feel like this is way too much. You're going to be peeing all the time, and you're just going to be miserable. Just like if you just jump into the gym and do a crazy workout for 7 days a week, you're going to be sore and you're going to hate it and you're not going to stick to it.
Mm-hmm.
So taking especially if you're used to drinking pop or soda, I have a friend who, she really, really likes Coca-Cola, and she knows it's not good, so she's trying to change to, flavored waters. And that's a really good way to transition, is to have, instead of a sugary soft drink, you can have some flavored water. They have ones where you can just squeeze in the amount that you want, or you can have, just any kind of flavored water. We use the off-brand kind that you get at Aldi's, but
the sparkling water.
The sparkling water too, and that works fine. Anytime that you want to drink some water, but you're tired of drinking the same old water out of your water bottle, flavor it. You can also use a marked bottle, which, add that to your everyday carry, your keys and your phone, your water bottle.
And also, I mean, just speaking of flavored, it doesn't even necessarily have to be something that you buy from the store, as much as it could just be, a lemon or a lime. And just squeeze, some lemon juice into that.
It's a bonus.
And that's the biggest thing, right? So maybe the added sugar from a lemon or a lime or raspberry or, whatever you put in isn't ideal. However,
it's better than pop.
It's better. Well, and it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
It's certainly better than nothing. And if it makes it taste a little bit better, you're good.
But also using a marked water bottle is really good, because it can keep you on track. So the first time that you're going into your water journey and you're trying to drink more, it's a little bit tricky to go ahead through the day and be like, okay, how many times did I fill this up? Like, did I drink enough? And eventually you get to the point where you're in tune with your body. You know how much water you need to drink. But having something with marking on the side, even water bottles that say, like, you're halfway there, keep going, refill.
Yeah, little individual motivators just on your water bottle.
Yeah, that's awesome too. And you can do that on any water bottle. You can buy them with these motivators on it. But something like that is really good to keep yourself on track. And then the other thing you can do is kind of bookend your meals with water, because
even during.
Use your schedule to your advantage. We all eat at certain points in the day, and whether that's 2 meals or 3, having a glass of water before it, having a drink after that, you have a guaranteed at least 2 drinks right there. So, it makes it a lot easier to fill in the gaps throughout the day.
And it also makes it easier regulating the food that you're eating. You tend not to eat as much, and your body is more efficient at breaking that food down.
Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, if you are, you might think you're hungry, but really you're just thirsty. So starting your meal with a glass of water is a really good way to start.
Yep. I prefer some lemon water. I always feel that I just feel better throughout the course of the meal, just having a little bit of lemon water before a meal. But, just kind of to recap, one, just get yourself we'll say comfortable water bottle, something that you can carry, something that you can flip open, something that you find yourself going to more frequently. I even, just real quick as an example, I have a friend that, she has a Yeti, and the Yeti is much larger than what she can hold. So the fix was not to get a different water bottle, it was just to get a handle, to just make that Yeti just a little bit more comfortable to carry around and hold a little bit more. I know that we touched on that a little bit, but so just a bigger water bottle, and just get in the habit, kind of like sleep, of drinking a certain amount consistently per day.
Yeah. The third one is a little bit less of, an obvious one, and maybe it's a little bit controversial, but fasting is our third tip. And we don't mean, going 3 days without food. Everybody needs to eat. All we might mean by fasting is to give yourself a break. So, I'm a little sore right now because we were just away and I hadn't been lifting really heavy. And then I did a workout and now my legs are really sore. So today,
You should do legs.
I will not be doing legs because that would just make me miserable. So I'm going to move on to arms, or I'm going to even just give myself a rest day before I do legs again. And if that has nothing to do with food, you're going to take your big dinner out. And then the next day, maybe you push breakfast back a little bit, or
even just a smaller.
Yeah,
just
even a smaller breakfast, because your body only needs so much. Maybe we're on routine is good for sleep, for other things, but if we're having 3 meals a day, the same size of meals each time, regardless of how hungry we are, that's where it starts to all add up into overeating. So, and just to reiterate, the point of fasting is not to starve ourselves. It is to understand how much food we need and to be able to eat that much, making sure that we're not undereating as well.
Yeah, I mean, fasting will certainly be a whole other episode on its own. I'd like to get some other opinions on that too. But the main point, like exactly what Sarah says, is just the same way you wouldn't do leg day every single day, 3 times a day. That we're also not saying that you shouldn't or can't eat certain things. Sarah and I have our pizza Sundays every single Sunday, where we split a large pizza. Usually have some ice cream on that day as well, and it's just something that's within our diet, within our consistency that we have.
We plan for it.
We
so
plan
it's not
for
a
it.
cheat day.
No,
It's just,
not a cheat day at all.
And then if something happens throughout the week too, where maybe that Saturday we went out with friends and had a big, greasy, wonderful meal.
Or even just a couple drinks too.
Yeah. But if we do that, then we're like, okay, well, we won't have pizza Sunday today. That's fine. Because it's something that we can look forward to. And the way that most diets work is if you feel like you are being deprived, you're not going to want to do it. No. So being able to give yourself some recovery time and look forward to something that is, something you still want. And we'll get to that a little bit more on the next one. But giving yourself the opportunity to recover. It takes 10% of our body's daily energy to intake and ingest food. So that's a lot. That's a good bit. And if we're doing a constant stream of food throughout the day, that's really tough on our bodies. We're not giving the time to actually digest and use it. We're constantly working to, digest everything that we've got.
Yeah, and once again, guys, we do not want to make it seem like, just like, a certain fad diet, that there's only a certain way of fasting. But, a fast, to what we define it as, is a recovery period that you are not eating. That's it. So like I said, you can start to implement this, see how you feel, but next time that you go out for happy hour, or, you have pizza for lunch, or, something happens, be conscious of that. Don't necessarily skip your next meal, but keep in mind, hey, my caloric intake was a lot, and it was a lot of food that is greasy. It's hard to digest, hard to process. Just delay it a little bit, or just eat a little bit less. We're not saying don't do happy hour, not saying don't do that stuff, but just be conscious of the next meal or whatever the next thing you have. Give your body a fighting chance to break down and recover, so the next time you want to go out for happy hour, it's not detrimental.
Yeah. And so the way to start that off would be to you can set a food start and cutoff time. So I said earlier it's a myth that if you eat after 7 p.m., you will gain weight. That's not true. For a while there, we practiced intermittent fasting. And for a while there, my fasting window was later at night. I started my meals at like 1 p.m. and I stopped eating at like 10. I didn't gain any weight because my caloric intake was the same. All I was doing was changing where I was starting my meals and when I was ending my meals. But if you look at the name, breakfast, it is literally break fast. Most people's schedules, they are eating in the morning until, about 6 or 7 p.m. And then they stop eating because now we're getting ready for bed. And then in the morning, we start again. You're breaking your fast.
Breaking fast, breakfast, yeah.
So, just having a food start and cutoff time, you'll have to be very conscious about it your first time doing this if you are used to kind of eating all day and in small meals, which there's nothing wrong with, but this is what's worked for us, and it is easier on our schedules.
Quick side note too. So I was at an 8 hour window, so I started eating at 2, stopped eating at 10. What I found is my sleep was actually affected because my bedtime is at 10:30. So if you're eating all the way up until 10, I noticed that my stomach was kind of in pain. I wasn't able to sleep the whole way through the night, and so on and so forth. So what I did is not stop intermittent fasting, but I at least pushed my window up a little bit. So I actually had breakfast or, had something at, 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, but then I was done at 6 p.m. All of a sudden, my sleep got a lot better. So still a rule of thumb is not going back to sleep. You don't necessarily want to eat directly before bed, but not eating after 7 is not that rule. If your bedtime isn't until 11 p.m. at night, you can eat a little bit after 7. But a general rule of thumb is probably that hour and a half to 2 hours before you go to bed. And
You're
it really
thinking of where the break is.
Yeah.
The after 7 p.m. rule
Right.
Was kind of just based on the normal American daily schedule.
Right.
If you're waking up early and you're eating as soon as you wake up, you want to stop later at night.
And that also takes into account any dessert. I mean, you're talking about anything.
Yeah.
You are officially done eating. No more anything. No more calories at whatever time that you delegate or before bed.
Yeah, and a benefit for this is you start to eliminate that hormonal hunger that's just what you're used to in your daily schedule. And then you start to recognize when you're actually hungry and when your body just feels like it's hungry. But another thing that you can think about to kind of, break it up and recognize that, okay, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm in my, my out of my feeding window. I'm not eating right now. I'm giving myself that break. What do? Drink water. You can kind of fill in that time by drinking water, keeping yourself hydrated.
Sipping on some coffee or some
Right.
black tea or even green tea
Yeah.
also helps too.
Yeah, and all of that kind of stuff is going to, well, not coffee, but having water in there is going to help you stay hydrated. And you're going to actually end up drinking more water if you limit your food time because now you're not grabbing at food each time that you are hungry. You could also just be thirsty. So, this is not saying, okay, I can't eat, I have to drink water instead. This is saying recognize when you are hungry so that you're eating when you're fueling your body correctly. And, the other important thing in fasting, and especially intermittent fasting, is making sure that you're still getting the same caloric intake that you need. You're not limiting your calories. You are eating what you would normally eat. You're just shrinking the window.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you can also kind of twist this around based on your favorite meals. So, if you really like making a big dinner, then structure your time around making that dinner. Give yourself time to eat it and plan for it. Or if you really like brunch, plan for that. We had when we've moved kind of into eating more just earlier in the day, but it used to be we would be able to plan for dinners with friends. So our eating window would be later at night so that we would be able to say, we never wanted to say, hey, I can't go
My
to dinner with
eating
you because my
window.
eating window is in the way.
Right.
And don't let that happen anyway. It's okay if you break it a few times. It's not
Yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah. Once again, it's just the consistency part of things, and the more consistent you can be with a eating window or just giving your body a break, just like getting more sleep, just like drinking more water, the more consistency, the better.
Yeah. And so we'll bring us over to our fourth tip, which is reduce sugar, which, that can be a little more complicated than
Starting
just
with
timing your food.
processed sugar is what we're
Right.
talking about. We're not talking about the
Not
the
fruit.
blueberries and the
Yeah.
fruits. It's a different type of sugar. However, it is sugar nonetheless. So just moderating how much fruit you eat or how much fructose specifically. We're mainly just talking about processed sugar here, things that companies add to food that primarily would not taste good to now taste good and be a little bit more addictive. Sugar is the biggest drug in America. A lot of people don't like viewing it that way, but we get addicted to it, we crave it, and it's something that quite frankly, is harming the human body and the way that we perform.
Yeah. I mean, it's listed a whole bunch of places, but the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition lists the number one cause of inflammation as sugar. Inflammation is a pretty broad term, but you can feel some of those things outwardly. Joint pain, sluggishness, crashing, weight gain, all
Anxiety.
that. Yeah, all of that kind of stuff. It goes hand in hand with sugar. So, our easiest tip to reduce your sugar,
Don't buy
it. If it's not in the house, you're going to be tempted by it. So all your temptation, go to the grocery store when you're full. Don't go when you're just craving everything. But if it's not in the house, you're not going to sneak into the kitchen and,
Finish off a sleeve of Oreos.
Yeah.
My weakness.
So, and does that mean you can't ever have any sweets? No, not at all. But that's the thing that people say to me all the time is I'll go to a party and it's birthday party. I'm not going to not have birthday cake. So I go up and I have a big old slice of cake. I have some ice cream and I have a few cookies. And people look at me and they say, oh, wow, I wish that I could do that and eat like you do and not gain weight. And I'm like, well, this is the only time that I do this.
Mm-hmm.
This is, it's about consistency rather than, having something sweet at the end of every meal or something that you're relying on for sugar.
Yeah, like I love ice cream. I love ice cream. I could eat it every single night. But I also know that if I eat it every single night, I'm not going to, not necessarily the way I look, but the way I feel. That the next day, I feel sluggish. My workouts, which I enjoy doing, my workouts suffer. My mood suffers. I notice that I have a little bit more anxiety when I wake up in the morning. Those simple things. So now I basically just have ice cream, on a pizza Sunday. I kind of get it all together on the same day. But you'll notice too, how amazing the human body is. That as soon as you start to eliminate those sugars, you notice that you don't even crave them anymore.
Yeah, sweet things become less sweet. So you have so our sweet things that we go to are, a handful of berries or bananas, strawberries, apples, some kind of treat that's also, if we go and grab a cupcake, okay, it's good. It's not doing anything for our bodies. But now we have this sweet that's just a handful of berries, and now they also have nutritional value, and they satisfy our sweet craving.
Yeah, and I was going to say that the same thing works in reverse. So the more sugar that you have, the more you're going to crave and essentially be addicted to it. That's why I say, sugar is a drug. The more of it you have, the more of it you crave, and the more addicting it becomes. same exact thing works the opposite way. The less sugar, I can't tell you how many times that I've had friends that have eliminated sugar, and they look at a cupcake or they look at a cookie and they're just like,
I don't even want it.
I
Yeah.
don't need it. I
Yeah.
don't want it. And you just don't end up eating it.
Well, that's the thing is like, you know, I had a big sweet tooth my whole life. This is not like
Had?
we still do, but I'm just saying it has changed. So, you know, in college, we used to always go out and get froyo with friends with all the toppings and the gummy bears and everything. And we used to do this, you know, maybe a couple times a week. It was good. It was a lot. And then, you know, sometimes in my brain, I'm like, hey, Matt, let's go get froyo. And it seems like a great idea. And then we go, and I'm like, this is way too sweet. I don't even like it. And that's just your body adapting because it recognizes I don't ever really get that much sugar, and I also don't need it. So instead, you know, a bowl full of fruit is much more satisfying. And frozen fruit, especially, it's sweeter. It makes it a lot easier to, you know, have maybe in a cup of yogurt or something like that. So frozen bananas. We get the packs of berries that are supposed to be used for smoothies, and just dump out a little bit in a bowl and just munch on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can also add to that. You know, I love Trader Joe's. Shout out to them. Their sunflower butter, no sugar added sunflower butter. I actually find it's sweeter for me almost, and tastes better. But a little bit of that, maybe on a rice cake, and with some frozen blueberries on top, almost like a mini PB&J. Obviously with the rice cake, the sunflower butter, and the frozen blueberries. But that is one of the most refreshing summer snacks, and it's something that it craves kind of everything that you need at the time. Has your fats, has your sugars, has your carbs, everything all encompassed into one. But then you're done. That's it. The other part of reducing sugar is moderating how much you have. Something as simple as, instead of getting the full half gallon of ice cream, get individual sizes, so there's not that temptation to keep spooning out ice cream or the whole tray of brownies. Sure, make that, but then divvy it up into individualized servings, just to make it a little bit easier to only eat a certain amount at any given time. But yes, as Sarah and I will always say, just don't buy it, just don't make it. Reserve the sugar for when you go out with friends, big party, or anything like that.
And don't make those times out with friends or celebrations about the cheat meal that you get to have, the cookies or the cake or whatever. Make it about the celebration. The cookies and cake are just a bonus. You don't want to feel deprived. If you ever feel like you are deprived, that, oh, I can't eat brownies anymore and this makes me just miserable. If somebody said you need to cut ice cream out of your diet, I would just be the saddest person. So what we do is we get to have ice cream a couple times a week, and that's what we do. And I am totally satisfied with it. So if you're not ready to give something up, don't do it. Work yourself around it.
Yeah. But we could get into a whole nother episode just on reducing sugar. And honestly, Sarah has published numerous articles on how not to cheat on your diet, daily healthy meals, just consistency, and what you can have that also satisfies that sweet tooth without the sugar.
You can also check, like, on our Pinterest, we have a few recipes that from other people that are, they take what you're used to and eliminate the processed pieces of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And going right on to, I know that we're both a little long-winded here, but the last one of the five. So just to kind of recap before we get into the fifth one. One is going to be getting more sleep. 2, drinking more water. 3, some sort of fast. Like I said, not fasting per se, but just giving your body recovery time. 4, reduce specifically processed sugar. And number 5, which kind of encompasses everything, is find a community. Just a group of individuals or just a single person that's going to hold you accountable to what your goals want to be. Not getting in this echo chamber of, you can't do something or you won't do something. Keeping an open mind and surrounding yourself with people that are going to help you achieve, at least one of these one of these 5 fitness transformation numbers.
And what's apparently like a very popular slogan nowadays for fitness is set a goal, don't tell anyone, and then smash that goal, which sounds great in theory, but that's easier said than done. Unless you're motivated by, something that really you really need to make a change, that's really hard to hold on to for that motivation. But inviting other people into your community, into your goals, they're going to be able to encourage you. They're going to be able to hold you accountable, and they're also going to help you to find what it is that you need to be doing to stay fit. So, I like going to the gym, but more than going to the gym, I like doing aerial arts. I have a lyra, an aerial hoop, and I love doing that. So my training in the gym is a lot of upper body, it's a lot of abs, it's a lot of what's going to help me for my aerial hoop. So if you are really into yoga, okay, you're not into going to the gym, that's fine. Find a yoga class. Find other people who are into what you like doing, and then you can not only share that love of whatever sport with them, but you can also have them help you and say, okay, I have trouble with this pose. How can you help me out here? And somebody else can say, oh, well, I point my toes this way, or I modified it this way, and it made it a lot easier for me to get into it. So you eliminate those slumps where you're just like, I can't go any farther. You have other people to help you out and push you past them.
Yeah, and the important thing with that too is the people that you surround yourself with. Good people are going to support you. Just like what Sarah said, they're not going to say, no, you can't do it, or they're going to make fun of your form or the certain way you do something. Quite frankly, those aren't groups that you want to be in anyway.
No.
Now, there is a difference between them pushing you and kind of poking fun just to kind of get you on to the next level. But, and this doesn't even have to relate to anything physical. This can also be something like a church or a wellness group. Just a group of people, like I said, that have the same core values.
That keep you inspired for the rest of the week.
Exactly.
So, and it also, if you're not sure what you want to do, or, you're just like, I don't really feel comfortable in the gym, and that's why we have, in our workout of the days, we have a group where you can go in and say, I completed this exercise, or I struggled with this, or, I did 10 exercises, who can do 10 and beat me? It's, friendly competition. It's something that's going to help all of you to progress, and it's also going to help you to understand what your strengths are and how you can build on top of them. Personally, I have a rule that I don't say I can't do something, and I don't let any of my friends say that they can't do anything. And sometimes they roll their eyes and they're like, okay, yeah, but I really can't do a push-up. So I say, okay, you can't do a push-up yet.
Yep.
And just that simple mindset, which is, again, it's hard to have on your own. It's hard to say, to put yourself in that mindset when you are feeling really, really frustrated. But understanding that all of your friends have the same rule, that you're not allowed to say can't, they're going to call you out and tell you. As a gymnastics coach, had not been really tumbling in a long time, so trying out new things that I hadn't done in a while. My rule for the girls was that they couldn't say can't. I got up on a beam and I tried to do a back tuck and I kept falling, getting real frustrated, and I was like, I just can't do it anymore. And immediately one of the girls called me out and was like, you can't do it yet. And that's exactly what I needed, and I'm the one coaching. So having any kind of community where you're not allowed to have that kind of negativity, but they're going to listen to the way that you feel, that's going to help you move forward.
Mm-hmm. and making sure that that community, like we said before, is not just an echo chamber. This is a positive community, a community that will hold you accountable, that will grow and adapt with you, as opposed to keep you down, or as opposed to combat, whatever you're feeling. Finding someone that's going to say, hey, yeah, like let's run the extra mile, or hey, let's study a little bit more, for class, or for a Bible study, or anything like that. The key is, not to add too much religion here, but God specifically put people on this planet, not just a single person. His intention was to create a community of human beings that you can do life together. We were never meant to do life on our own. And whenever you do feel alone, or you do feel like you're the only one that is struggling with this, do yourself a favor, and like we said, just find a community, find a church group, find a gym, find an aerial hoop place to do circus. Just find something, even a book club, that gets you out, that gets you talking with other people and communicating with other people on your level, and that will actively, improve your life.
And if you're not sure where to start, everybody knows somebody that has a hobby. And even if that's not an athletic hobby, getting yourself out there in a group of people that you don't really know is the first step. So let's say that your friend is really into hot yoga, and that really doesn't seem like it's something that you want to do. Give it a try. You don't know. It might be more enjoyable just through the fact that your friend is in it. That kind of stuff, where you do the class, and maybe after the class you're like, okay, suspicions confirmed, not for me. That's fine. Maybe you can say, but I really did like being able to, do the core exercises, or being able to hold myself up in positions that I didn't think I could do. Well, that's awesome. That's a starting point. Maybe you're more into dance then, or maybe that's like, worst comes to worst, that's the total opposite side of the spectrum, that you do not want slow moving sports. That's not what you want. Now you can move on from that.
Yeah. But even your brother, right? He just bought a mountain bike, and had a couple friends that were at work that happened to be pretty good mountain bikers. And that's something, just that simple task. He didn't buy the mountain bike right away.
Yeah.
He just borrowed and rented,
and there's a learning
and did
curve,
some things.
and you got to give yourself that too. Because I texted my brother the other day and was like, how did it go? And he was like, well, I fell off my bike, and in the background my friends are doing jumps. And I was like, okay, well, that's fine. Did you get back up? And he was like, yep. So, give yourself the benefit of the doubt that you can continue, you can get better, and, that's how you get a fitness transformation.
Yeah, we're just gonna recap one last time. I know that it's probably getting pretty annoying to hear these 5 things. However, not to overcomplicate things, not to make things unachievable. Start with just one of these at a time, and slowly incorporate the other ones. Starting with your sleep. Try to get to bed on time. Give your body enough sleep. Next one is going to be drink more water. Just get a bigger water bottle. Honestly, get something that you're going to go to each and every day. Number 3, fasting. Like we said the whole
just
time,
giving your body a break.
Just giving your body a break. From eating. And then number 4,
reducing sugar. So you just want to make sure that you have a less processed diet, and that you're moving forward and replacing the sugary stuff with sweet stuff that's also doing your body some good. And then 5 is to find a community. So find someone, even in a non-athletic situation, that's going to get you through the week, that's going to keep you motivated, and that you can share your struggles with in a positive and encouraging manner.
Yeah. And if you guys have any other questions, check out our website, fitforthetask.com. If you have any questions, email us at info@fitforthetask.com. We have numerous outlets that you can see different articles, see different YouTube videos, just different things that we're doing, that we're posting. And, check out our workout of the day community. That's a lot of fun. We've been getting a lot of friendly competition in that as well. But if you guys like this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We certainly appreciate you listening and following along.